So apparently there is talk about Rahm Emanuel running for the Democratic nomination in 2028. Fox News here reports Rahm Emanuel appears to be teasing a 2028 presidential run, urging reforms to a Democratic Party that he has described as weak and woke in an interview with the Wall Street Journal. Emanuel blasted the current Democratic platform as toxic, arguing party leaders need to get back to basics rather than getting dragged into unpopular cultural debates. I wonder what he'd mean by getting back to basics, and I hope that would mean economic issues. Emanuel is one of many names in Democratic circles who has been floated as a potential candidate alongside Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Quote, if you want the country to give you the keys to the car, somebody's got to be articulating an agenda that's fighting for America, not just fighting Trump, Emanuel said. The American dream has become unaffordable. It's inaccessible, and that has to be unacceptable to us. It is unacceptable. It is unacceptable. I think a lot of Democrats recognize that. And I think a lot of Democrats are starting to get back into the whole, okay, no more just bashing Trump and acting like that's enough with the American people, because it's not. A lot of Democrats are seeing that we need to do more. We need to speak more about issues. You know, there's that old saying, small minds discuss people, large minds discuss ideas, or something like that. I oversimplified it, but the idea is that we want to talk about policy issues. We want to talk about plans to turn the country around, both in the short term and in the long term. Mostly the long term, because the Democrats won't have the White House for a whole 4 years, or at least 3+ years from now. But there's the 2026 midterms, and there are plenty of special elections. And the special elections have shown promising signs for some of the Democrats. Think about what happened in the Omaha, Nebraska race. There's plenty of stuff going on that's a promising sign for Democrats to actually take some affirmative steps to make the country better and make the country less Trumpy. So Emanuel recently returned to the U.S. after serving as ambassador to Japan under Joe Biden's administration. In addition to serving as Chicago mayor, Emanuel also worked with President Obama's White House chief of staff and served in Congress representing Illinois. The longtime Democratic insider also argued that U.S. education needs to be more focused on meeting high standards than proliferating social doctrine. Quote, I'm empathetic and sympathetic to a child trying to figure out their pronoun, but it doesn't trump the fact that the rest of the class doesn't know what a pronoun is, he said. So far, no Democrats have openly declared their intentions to run for president in 2028, though several have toyed with the idea. Walz told reporters that he would do whatever it takes to run if he is asked to serve. Okay, so this idea of, education needs to stop doing this social doctrine thing, or do less of that. I mean, I sort of understand where he's coming from. Pronouns should not be the main focus of education, but they aren't. Teachers aren't focusing on that. Teachers aren't obsessed with pronouns. They might lean into it a bit too much, but it's not the main deal. It's a side thing. It's something that people do. Like, what pronouns do you want to be addressed by, so that when we talk about you in the third person, we're referring to you the right way? Whatever. That's a policy choice on their part. It's obviously not like interchangeable, or I should say, it's not mutually exclusive with teaching well and teaching math, science, all that stuff effectively. Saying, oh, what are your pronouns? It's not going to impair their learning ability or anything like that. So I don't know. This seems almost like a aren't Democrats woke virtue signal? Even if there's some truth to it. It seems like Emanuel would probably run as a more conservative Democrat, a more anti-woke Democrat based on this. Similarly, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear has said that he would consider a White House bid. I talked about that guy in a video in the past, Andy Beshear for president in 2028. You can check out that video. But yeah, that guy is a pretty hardcore evangelical, I've come to find out, which is something that could hinder him, actually. I feel like some Democrats might be turned off by that. And then, some Southern centrists might be intrigued by him as a possible benefit to that. But yeah, he seems like a straightforward guy who's not like, super obsessed with any particular like social fad or whatever, or not, obsessed with being, as they would say, woke. So that is something that might help him in the South. But at the same time, he also is economically populist in a way that is a little bit different from the mainstream. He's not like a Bernie Sanders, but he's a bit more economically populist. So that would help him. I don't know what Rahm Emanuel's economics necessarily are. I haven't read that much into him. I just knew of his association with Obama. Buttigieg has also played coy with his all but certain intentions to run, telling Fox News after a town hall appearance in Iowa that right now I'm not running for anything. Of course, yeah, they always say that. They always say that, even going back to Reagan before he ran, he was like, oh, right now I'm focused on California when he was governor of California. It's a tale as old as time. I'm not going to run. I'm not running for anything. And then they run. But yeah, I could imagine Rahm Emanuel running. We're going to have an open primary. It's going to be an open primary. Kamala Harris looks like the most popular one right now. Weirdly enough, I don't know if she should be. She kind of just lost the last election. Even if it wasn't a landslide loss, she lost. So it seems like there's a new direction that's needed. I don't know if Rahm Emanuel necessarily is tantamount to a new direction for the Democratic Party, though. He was associated with Obama. He was Obama's right-hand man. So just because he's talking, about a new direction they need to go doesn't necessarily mean he represents a new direction. So he's saying, oh, wokeness bad, which is, starting to become a little more mainstream in the Democratic Party. Although Tim Walz is kind of doubling down on it and saying, whatever, who cares if they call you woke? I mean, they would say that opposing segregation is woke or something. So yeah, he's definitely trying to be a little more reactionary in his behavior, but he might be populist on economics. He might be. Or he might just be doing this to pretend like, oh, I'm populist on economics. I really care about economics. I'm going to show you how much I care about economics by telling you how much I hate social issues and I hate talking about all this gender stuff. That might be a rhetorical trick on his part. I don't know. Seems interesting. I'll give him a chance as I give everyone a chance. Let me know what you think about Rahm Emanuel running in the Democratic primary in 2028. Please like, comment, or subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. This is the Morris, the Merrier, and I look forward to speaking to you in my next video.